should be our choice. Bawumia means business, which means that he's better for Ghana. He would integrate the private sector into fiscal policy operations to deliver critical infrastructure, create meaningful jobs, and increase productivity. And most of us, we talk about roads, we talk about hospitals, talk about schools, and all of that. One of the ingenious ways Dr. Bawumia is proposing is that will include the private sector in the delivery of this infrastructure. And you know, always you pay attention to the budget, and if you look at government allocation for capital expenditure, they're often limited. How are you able to deliver all the infrastructure needs in any particular year with that limited amount of money? The one sure way to do it is to ensure that we engage in providing, in integrating the private sector to build these infrastructures, and they will leverage that for ensuring that we achieve the infrastructural deficits that are in our country and ensure our people are better off than they were before. Bawumia means jobs. Again, I told you about the 1 million youth project to train about youth in IT development skills and make them globally employable. There are many more reasons I can tell you why Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is better than the alternative John Dramani Mahama of the NDC. Simply because across this country, there is a general consensus among people that the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has performed better in office than any Vice President in recent history. As stated earlier, Bawumia's initiative has led to Bawumia has initiated and implemented successfully about some 33 initiatives as Vice President, and I submit to you that as President, he will do exceedingly more than that. So ladies and gentlemen of the media, I am sure, permit me to be a bit more pastoral at this point, I am sure you recall the parable of the bag of gold in Matthew 25:14 through 30. I summarize for you: a master entrusted his wealth to 3 of his servants. He gives 5 bags to one, 2 bags of gold to another, and 1 bag of gold to the third. The first 2 servants doubled the gold and returned it to the master upon his return. The third servant went straight and buried the bag of gold in the field and returned it to the master when he arrived. You know the details in between. The master was pleased with the first 2 servants, but cast out the third servant into the darkness. Ladies and gentlemen, Bawumia is an example of the good and faithful biblical servant because he has served Ghana well and deserves commendation and reward. The master in verses 28 and 30 made the following declarations, and I quote: "So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have in an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them, and throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." I didn't say this is a Bible. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is an example of the biblical wicked and lazy servant who did not live up to expectation in his 4 years as president of this republic. Ladies and gentlemen, like the master in Matthew 25, Ghanaians must vote on December 7th, or maybe let me go back a bit. Like the master, we voted in 2016 to cast out John Dramani Mahama because he had not met expectation. But somehow in 2020, he thought that the the verdict on him in 2016 was a flash in the pan. So he came again in 2020, and we roundly confirmed that our decision was absolute and clear in 2016. So again, we voted him out. He thought himself, he didn't understand. He went to the court, didn't have any evidence, and he was roundly rejected. A unanimous verdict against his bogus claim. The petition, the 2021 petition, election petition, was roundly rejected, just like the Ghanaians. Now, in 2024, he's going to try us again. He's trying us again. And with all humility, I entreat us all to give the NPP a landslide victory in a way to retire the former president permanently from politics. We must reject former President John Dramani Mahama because his 4 years as president brought untold hardship to Ghanaians. We slept in doomsday during those years. Businesses were destroyed. Youth employment broke world records, and the growing economy he inherited was collapsing by the time he left office. Most revealing is the fact that former President John Dramani Mahama gave up when his mismanagement made life difficult, and Ghanaians demonstrated to demand better economic management. He said no amount of demonstration, and I'm sure you remember this. He said no amount of demonstration will move him because he was a dead goat. Ladies and gentlemen, the balance of a leader's job is dealing with challenges. But from what we have seen from the former president, he has shown that he cannot deal with challenges. Therefore, on December 7, we must vote to show the former President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC that we, the people of Ghana, cannot afford the risk of electing a president who cannot respond to our needs in challenging times. The former president did not perform well, and this is essentially a matter known to all of us, and is evident in the vote in 2016 and 2020. Did not perform well in office between 2013 and 2016. So he does not merit the reward, and given the scripture, we should not reward him. This is especially true when all he has is 4 years. And here's where I promised you I'll tell you about his own view about 4 years and what one can use it to do. He says 4 years is not enough to make a difference as a government. And so the question is, what has changed? The question is, what is it coming to do? The question is it now true that 4 years is enough to make a difference? Those are questions I know our former president cannot answer, which then goes to the heart of why we shouldn't vote for him, because he can't make any difference. He himself has said it, and it's a practical impossibility for him to do it. But rather, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has what it takes, has the allowable 8 years to be able to deliver in the first 4, to give a good account of himself, so we can give him another 4 years. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, voting for the former president, John Dramani Mahama, will amount to taking Ghana back, and you and I cannot afford to take Ghana backward when our peers in the sub-region are striving forward. We the people, as I just read to you in scripture, are the masters of Ghana's destiny. We've entrusted our powers in the former president before, and we are about to do so again with a choice between him and His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And the invitation is for you, based on his delivery in the first 4 years, and based on the scripture we have read. Since he has not performed well, he deserves no reward. So on December 7th, your decision must reflect the wisdom of the parable we just read in the Bible, to reward the good and faithful servant of the people, being Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, with your votes, because he has shown the potential to do even better for Ghanaians as president. Finally, let me make the appeal to you as you vote on December 2nd and most of us on December 7th, starting with the special voting. Please cast your ballot for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the NPP parliamentary candidates. That will be number 1 across all the ballots, in line with what you know to be true and what your expectations are, that when you give a piece of job to someone to do, those who do a good job, you invite again. Those who do a poor job, you will not invite. The verdict is clear on the former president's performance, 4-year performance in office. This is not me saying it. You and I, we voted massively in unprecedented manner to send him home simply because he didn't perform. And I invite you that we don't reward him because he had failed us. He had not been a faithful, he's not been a good and faithful servant of the people of Ghana. So therefore, on December 7th, let's vote for the one who has been faithful, who has been good to Ghanaians. His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should be your choice on December 7th or on December 2nd when you take the lead to vote in a special voting. Thank you very much for coming.
Look at this one. Address is very well. The police has issued a statement. So we have sent it to our phone. You say NPP, that's how we do it.
Okay. So is there a need to do a summary for the version? Okay. All right. Mpenifo Damasi say enenso so mabeka yensa na yenkuta rudi a ukwada bia ya deba no. Ene de no ye ka asam afa abato a eba em say juade ya you know dudu na eba be start ye de. Na omo central jumani mu no ene asrafo ebebes bedi kan esan say December 7th no mono mbowo ejuma a mbeye aboa abato ehun nsem no enti ye ba ye say enu bedi nkomo kane na yaka kire mo say mokotuma aba no a montuma Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia esan say ono beboa Ghana echi ye mampeni dada Dr. Mahmoud, Dr. John Dramani Mahama. Onono ebeboa Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ebeboa Ghana, saying John Dramani Mahama oye mampeni dada. Na enumu no di kan ebobo nyono bi eso pese ye nyina ye hweso ase nyiraso na ye de koto aba no. The omo kwan Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia so be faso no making sure say yesika sem ene enuma sem Ghana ebeti ejina mu prekope se dia nanado danko akufado aban akrakra no efi COVID-19 o say ye ni nyina mu abebeduru ne no o de nhihye aba obefa kwan bi so na wetumi esiesi na yesika sem esi na dada mu prekope se dia etie before COVID-19 eba ye no na wotumi esiesi no saa kwan no so de dikan de dimo ebio akwan a obefa so am make sure say Ghana ye school komu ye ko school yesu ankrata ne insanu adwuma emu no o de hyehyɛ bebre egu nkrata so ya maka no brofo mu a eno no ebeboa Ghana papa ama ye ma ewie school se uwie TVET school ni bia ono ankasa betumi esi ono ankasa astarte aye ono ankasa n'edwuma ana so onya sika kakra aye a obetumi astarte edwuma ansa no edwuma obetumi aye e de ahwe no ho ahwe ebusia wode nhyehyɛ aba titru baako coding ne robotics ene AI ho nsɛm na me ka sɛ ene ewiase adane nyoma bebre a ye semeka internet of things ene ufoni betumi de nyoma bebre integrity applications ni nyoma wo bebre wokɔ America mamu a nkola etete Silicon Valley okwa o ne pyjamas ena wa mo ne nan ena o te corner bi obewie at the end of the day no onya sika bebre eno na edigu phone so na ya download this application we ne de bobra wo Ghana but nkola ya Ghana fo nkola betumi aye na nyame ntie mpo se presec for ebe commission some AI lab bia am say external na say ne on be commission bibisa abeboa aban no educational policy no eboa ama Ghana ene amaya aka no edi akoniaba